2, 1.
Welcome to the Late Sesh Live. I'm Skillbo One, as always, joined by Red Setter Farm, and we have two guests this evening and possibly a third. I'd like to welcome Spartan Grown and Norwal Up, and Sequences in the background. We're going to see if he's going to hang out for a second.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
Cheers, guys. What's happening? Happy to have everybody on board tonight.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. I haven't
Guys,
heard of
I
Oh,
was
man.
just hoping these guys get their show started. This
Oh, man. Joy's got nuts.
Milestone.
Yeah, man. I'm waiting for it to start showing.
I'll go top dress my sticks. I'll be right back.
You got to change it over, right? All right. Copy to the clipboard. So what's going on tonight, Red?
Oh, I'm just hanging out here. Man, I was in the outdoor garden in the evening today, a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening, doing some lollipopping on the Death Star. Really needed it. The Death Star started looking pretty rough lately. Some of the branches were starting to get down into the leaves on the ground, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any pathways and bridges up the stalk for any other pests or anything. So I did some lollipopping. Got some of the bottoms. For those that don't know, lollipopping is kind of taking care of some of the bottom buds, some of the bottom popcorn buds that might be forming. I'm about 14 to 23 days into flower, I'd say. Somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks is where I'm kind of looking at. Everything's got a nice little crown set on it, starting to stack nice. The stackings are starting to fill in. I can kind of see stretch starting to slow down on some of the cultivars. The Girls Gone Wild stretch is still in full motion, but again, everything's kind of slowly starting to finish its stacking up nice. So it's about that time where I'm starting to get an overall general view of what the plant's looking like, and that's a time where I want to start cleaning up the bottoms. I'm realizing what leaves on the inside aren't getting as good of light penetration, and if the leaves aren't getting the light penetration on the inside, I know the flowers aren't going to, or the leaves aren't going to help the flowers photosynthesize, so I'm not going to get good growth. So I'm just going to get rid of all of that on the inside. I'm outdoors, so I'm expecting a lot of the inside and a lot of the bottom to get good growth, so I'm not going too high up the plant like I do indoor, like I usually do the bottom third, bottom 2/3 sometimes indoor, whereas outdoor I usually only do maybe like a bottom quarter of the plant. I might only take it up about a foot because I know I'm going to get really good penetration, and I just make sure that I clean up the inside of the plant as much as I can. I take from past experience and I say these bottoms, if they're close to the ground, there's a good chance they're going to get botrytis. There's a good chance they're going to get powdery mildew, just because that's where the dew is settled. You got to really think about these cold mornings, and you got to think about what the bottom of the plant is going to be doing. So a lot of good airflow underneath the plants, and I'll let you guys take it away from there because I got to roll a joint. Cheers.
A lot of good advice, Red.
Yeah, one other thing. Another reason that's cool outdoor is it's super important to not only clean up your bottoms, but also around your plant. If you have tall grasses or weeds or whatever, keep that knocked down too, because all those are
Sunflowers.
sunflowers. All those are just fucking ways for bugs or pests to have access to your plant. If you lollipop your plant up, a decent amount, think of the size of a fucking mite. How far is it going to have to go before it even gets to a leaf? It might die on its way up there of starvation. Who knows? So there's an IPM reason for that too. That will help you out.
Speaking of mites and pests, dead leaves. Clean up your dead leaves. I clean my dead leaves like daily throughout spring, fall, or throughout spring and summer, the beginning of summer. Throughout like the whole vegetative cycle. I mean, I go out there just about every day when I'm doing my watering, when I'm doing my scouting, anything that I'm doing out there, I'm plucking any leaf that has a deficiency or might look malnourished, unless it's like the top of the plant and there's something wrong with the plant. If it's on the inside of the plant, chances are it's just not photosynthesizing right, and it's just a dead leaf. But you get down toward the bottom of the plant where there's very little light and it's a lot of shade, you might have a lot of dead leaves in there. You look really close, you might start getting yourself some webbing or spider mites or something in there, and get that shit out of there so you don't get your spider mites, you don't get thrip,
Like the whole
habitat, all
vegetative
that stuff.
cycle.
Say it
What's
again,
that, Narwhal?
What was that?
Did I say something?
I don't know. I like your. I want to say that I love that fucking that graphic, dude. That is sweet.
Yeah, your
I
icon
really
is
like
sweet,
that.
bro.
Thank you. I just got it done. It was from Guy Sequence. Recommended.
Nice.
You guys should toss that artist my way. I really like
It's cool.
the animal cartoon. I could use an animal cartoon, even though it's not really allowed during licensing. I could still use one for, what I'm doing here.
Except for
Yeah.
the big red dog, as you read. So before we were live, we were talking about compost piles, and I don't want to stray too far. Yeah, no. Well, we already know, right?
Yeah. Fucking city.
So go ahead and basically tell them what you had and what happened.
So I don't use city compost because of all the shit that everybody else uses in their gardens and would end up in mine. And I don't want to poison myself or anybody else who eats from my garden. But the city that I live in, they have an ordinance against keeping compost piles because they attract rodents. And I grew up in the country on a farm with wood piles everywhere and compost piles and gardens, and rodents are going to come wherever, whenever, but nothing actually attracts them. These city people have their heads so far up their fucking asses, it's ridiculous. But that's all I'll say. I don't want to get us banned on YouTube or anything.
That's all right. That cues up Spartan to go ahead and tee off on this.
Yeah, I was just
opening
gonna say,
salvo.
I would take a day off work to be able to go to a meeting or whatever I had to do to try to talk some sense. God damn, this smells good. Sorry. this is the fucking grow off, that number 3.
Yeah.
I might have to keep it. But yeah, I would just, because that it's just ignorance, you know what I mean? And when I see ignorance, I'm kind of like, I feel like maybe in my past life I was a teacher or something, because I always want to like, no, you have to understand. Like I want them to understand. Like no, that's not the reason. And I feel like many people, at least 50% of the people out there, you can reason with them if you approach them the right way. But there are, the other half that won't listen to reason.
Yeah.
You mean rats don't eat leaves?
Well,
no,
then
rats eat dog shit.
Oh, that was the other point, wasn't it?
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Come on.
They put a whole bunch of rules on
if that was true, I would have fucking pet rats to go eat the fucking dog shit that I wouldn't have to pick up out of the yard.
They discuss stuff amongst
Release the
themselves.
rats.
They discuss things amongst like 5 people. Nobody shows up to meetings, and then they just implement rules and regulations without anybody having any kind of say in it. So I totally side with Spartans.
In our city, we have a council member.
Go to a meeting or two if you can. Don't just go to a meeting. Go on like Nextdoor, the app that allows you to be able to like communicate with people in your own neighborhood or maybe in your locality that you could find like minds that possibly might also have that same interest in composting. Nextdoor is a great resource because we have a chicken issue right now. I can't have chickens. So there's a couple people that are like, hey, we need to change our township's ordinance on chickens. Who else is backyard farmers? Let's figure this shit out. So slowly, I think we might be able to figure that out. But it's heck. You can't save water. You can't do so many things, depending on
rain barrels.
They won't let you save water up there?
I'm using it as an example. I can personally in my HOA, but
in Genesee County,
townships where you can't.
Yeah, there's whole counties where you would be better off harvesting your water and drinking that than the city water. And
did you say Genesee County, especially Genesee? That would be a perfect example.
Hell yeah.
Exactly where you would want to save your own water. You're absolutely right. And then they'll ban you from doing it, or they'll restrict it to the point where you can't,
The cops in Flint will actually go through and shoot your reservoirs so that you can't use them.
Wow. I mean, at least they get their priorities right.
Dumbass.
I would sue them for destruction of personal property. They did that shit to me.
Yep. So my city, we have a council member that when they were going through, so they opted out of doing the whole rec cannabis businesses in our area. And their main argument when they first opted out was they're going to be on every corner. There's going to be selling pot everywhere. When the lawyers pulled up a map and there are 2 spots in our little town where there can be a recreational cannabis business. But also with that, they tried to table it and let it just go away, and everybody would stop talking about it. People in the city, they started a petition, and one of these council members didn't like the fact that they were able to circulate a petition without notifying the council, and that we were actually able to get a vote on this November ballot for us to be able to actually finally get the cannabis businesses in our city.
Your township officials hate that. They do not like that you people have your own voice.
You know what? I'm a 37-year-old friggin' American, served my country. I'm gonna do what the hell I want to in the pursuit of my happiness and my liberty.
Singing my tune, man.
As
Oh
is
yeah,
your
dude.
right.
Damn straight. Damn straight. I hope you do.
Old Veterans Unite.
I hope
man.
that your township votes for it.
Oh, I don't give it.
Goes through.
Yeah, we put it through to actually the majority of the city wanted it in. Our council members just didn't want it.
Right. I have a feeling that a majority, well, I mean, let's look at the stats from Prop 1. What was like 57, 58, 9%, something like that voted in favor, maybe close to 60% voted in favor. So that's out of 1,400, 1,700 townships in the state. I don't know what the number is, somewhere around 1,700 though. So you're looking at 60% of that. So, I mean, there's a lot of citizens in the state that want it green, that want to be able to open up, that don't want to see it a black market. They want to see it regulated things, so it is a matter of
That's how
like
they
I
make
said,
revenue.
man, it's those 5 to 10 board members that are sitting up there doing closed door meetings, doing stuff. Like my township did this. They send out, my township doesn't update their website until the week after they
post the minutes.
2 weeks after they don't post the minutes until like 2 weeks, or I'm sorry, they don't post the minutes until a couple of days prior to the next meeting. And then what they do, dude, minutes, like my website does not get updated at all. If I want any information, I have to call. My township's way behind. They just built a website in the last couple of years, so that probably has a lot to do with it. Like there's literally 3 little old ladies that work down in my township office. There's a deputy that runs, basically the entire town. It's a small town, but it's a very large square foot. I mean, it's a large city,
geographical area.
You know what I mean? Geographical area. Yeah, it's big for what it is, but it's all farmland and shit, So they have a lot of agricultural laws and rules, which they're like, we have no issues with cannabis. The problem is they didn't want it, or they had no issues with it being grown. They didn't want it being dispensed. It was the same issue. They were afraid that they were going to be popping up on every corner because in their mind it's agricultural, and they feel like they would have to allow them everywhere. I guess it's a huge the word ignorance is just popping in my head, but it's that they're all uneducated, not just on cannabis, but they're uneducated on Prop 1. They're uneducated on the MMFLA. They're uneducated on the entire system. And cannabis. They're uneducated on hemp, the difference between the two. So we got to go to the meetings. We got to speak up and talk.
And most of the people don't want to be educated. I don't know how many cops that I've talked to about friggin' this when I was working in my previous career that was like, yeah, I don't want to know about it. I just want to bust druggies. That's all they wanted to do.
I understand that one. I've come across a couple of the security guys that'll be at these meetings, and I'll approach them and say, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? And they'll go, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you guys say. We don't want it in our town. You guys are going to fill our streets with dope. And those are like the words that they use. They use
they've already drank the Kool-Aid, Red. It's very hard.
Very harsh wordage also. And it's like, all right, you guys think we're a bunch of dope addicts, whatever it is. We're going to fix your land. We're going to fix your water and all of this stuff. And we're just going to have to, I guess, I got proof in the pudding type of thing. We'll just have to show that the cannabis industry
there's so many meth heads that show up to those meetings and shit too,
Yeah. But still,
It'll start coming around.
If you're the squeaky wheel, eventually you'll get some grease, man. Just be a fucking thorn in their side. Or move. But I mean, that's not easy. That's not an easy thing to do. So it's easier to be a thorn in someone's side than move usually.
Yeah, stay within your rights and don't do a bunch of illegal things. Like for my
You
example,
could just sit in the meeting and stare at one person that's being annoying. Just sit there and stare at them the entire fucking time just to make them uncomfortable. Just fun things like that you can occupy your time with, and it'll make you feel better, and it'll make them feel not so good. And it's a win-win in my book. There's a lot of like things you can do. You could go down to the fucking office and try to talk to them every single day for weeks on end. There's all kinds of things you can do. I like to act stupid when like what you guys were talking about with the cops that they're just shutting down, they're not listening. That's when I like to act stupid. That's when I like to say, you know, for example, if they said, you know, I'm not interested in learning about it, I just want to bust druggies. I'm like, that's great. You should do that because these aren't drugs. You know, drugs are, you know, what they prescribe to you. You know,
Yeah.
I just keep fucking showing them how stupid they sound by their comments, and then they have to rise to you. If they don't, they're just going to look like an idiot to everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's
Especially if you
also
can
that
get
we
in a
have-
public forum. Sorry, Skibble,
Right.
I didn't want me to step on you.
No, you're right about the public forum. And if you were going to go to one of these meetings, I would think that since we have such a great school of agriculture at Michigan State, that maybe you could pull some information that's pertinent to whatever case that you're trying to argue. If you're talking about compost or water collection or something like that, not only will it help you be informed, but it's also something that they physically are handed. Like whether you throw it in the trash can or set it on your desk or read it during your, you know, your shit break at work, I don't care. But you know, you can't claim ignorance. You can just claim intolerance.
I mean, we're getting into the point where I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are starting to care about the environment. A lot more people are starting to focus on the food systems and or lack thereof, things like that. At least it's starting to like come out into the spotlight a little bit more, where a lot more people are at least looking at it, being observed. Maybe it's not being paid attention to, but it's being observed. It's out there. It's getting out there more. It's going to be observed. I have a feeling that a lot more people are going to be wanting a lot less phosphates leaching into their water. You know, a lot more people are going to be looking at these big cornfields and things like that. You know, the more conversations I have with people and I'm able to tell them that these big cornfields are hydroponically, you know, operated and things like that, and their eyes open up and they're like, really? What? And you start telling them about what the GMOs are, about, you know, what pesticides are doing, what, you know, how they are leaching into your food and maybe into our offspring, you know, whatever, into the animal's offspring and all of that, you know, what systemics are, you know, you explain to them what systemics mean and what they are and all of that stuff. Like, it's going to change. And I just think that it's an education.
Well, it's a lot to drop on somebody too in
We're
the halls
like
of
a turning
justice.
point.
You know what I mean? It has to be where you can hopefully spark an interest in someone, or possibly, you know, nudge them towards a paradigm shift. But
this is all such new information, and we all know it
is.
because like we're deep on it, right? We're deep. Like, I mean, if you think about the soil food web, not a lot of people even know who Dr. Elaine Ingham is or what the soil food web is, unless you're into organics or into agriculture or anything like that. If you're just into backyard gardening, or even if you're just even if you're a master gardener or something like that, you probably still have no idea who Elaine Ingham is. You know what I mean? You probably still have no idea what the soil cycle is. You know what I mean? Web. Right. You could be a botanist and not understand those things. You could be classically trained on, you know, how to garden and work in botany and things like that, and not understand those things. So this is all brand new stuff, and I think that once it gets out there a little bit more, just like everything else, it's gonna blow up. The information's gonna go out there. It's gonna be just like another, like, Whole Foods wave. You know, like Whole Foods came around, everybody wanted to do the healthy foods thing, and now people are going to start realizing that the healthy foods actually not being grown in healthy environments, and that needs to change first. So I think it'll pop. It's going to take a long time, and we just need to pressure our I'm gonna say they're our elders, you know, the people who are in our governments and in our running our town boards in our townships and stuff. A lot of them are a lot older than us. There's very few 30-year-olds sitting behind those desks. You know, there's They're usually in their 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, they're part-time workers. They're not full-time jobs. They don't need to retire. You know, they're only doing it a couple of days a week. They can do it until they're 80 years old. There's a lot of them out there that are. So
But there's a way that
very,
we,
very
as like
old
as
thoughts.
like cannabis enthusiasts, that we can have conversations with people. And one of the things is to I know this sounds like weird to people, but just realize your tone. Don't get fucking shrill with people, and don't start shouting, and don't start accusing. If you want someone to listen to your message, you have to craft it as a message, not as an accusation. So you know, you need to remember to be tactful, and at the same time, don't lose your cool, because it's not going to help your case.
It's super important. That's a super important point, because like the psychological aspect of a person's worldview being shattered is you get so much pushback from it. Like even myself, it's hard for me to accept new information from an already accepted information. Like what do I mean by that? Like, for example, if you know, like the studies coming out now saying that flushing that flushing your plant at the end doesn't take any nutrients out, like what everybody says. Now I still think it's a benefit at the end, because I've done it, you know, in a salt-based system or a synthetic situation. Not flushing versus flushing's a better product. So maybe our understanding of flushing is different, but you know, we're still doing it. But it's so, I find myself in my mind when that stuff comes up, I just want to dismiss it instead of even listen to it. You know what I mean? Kind of like what we were talking about. So you're going to get a lot of pushback when you're questioning people's norms, you know, so try to change people's mind. I think the best way is like studies so that you just overwhelm them with so much information that but like you said, you can't attack them because they're going to just be defensive at that point, and you're not going to get your point across. They're going to hate you.
You're working across
what you
purposes.
represent.
Well, it's about stereotypes. I'm not trying to reaffirm anyone's stereotypes. I mean, I'll make stereotypical jokes about cannabis smokers amongst cannabis smokers, but I don't drag other smokers down in front of non-smokers' face. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to lift us up. I don't know.
Chat says I'm breaking up. I was getting messages when I was talking. It doesn't appear to be doing it now. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, you're better.
Yeah, it's better. I thought it was actually my internet, so it's good to know.
Yeah. No, I was
Two.
just starting the remix.
I'm curious about this. So I'm kind of thinking of, I saw a comment in chat, I'll scroll back up, about not being able to grow as much food organically than synthetically. In a way, I agree with that. I also feel like we need more mineral dense food, which I think could be derived better organically. That's a strange one, man. I think we need to look at our waste streams before looking at our supply chains. There's so much food that gets wasted and it doesn't even get composted, like Narwhal's saying. It just gets thrown in the trash or garbage disposal.
Well, that's rat food, of course.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, could we potentially feed populations if we, I don't know, man. God, now we're really getting into deep wormholes.
It's late, Sesh, Red. It's
not-
all right.
It's not deep.
On eating their own food, but I mean, that's deep. That's really talking deep, because I feel like small community, local farms that are like community driven, where you're managing your waste streams, you're managing your supply chains, you're only, I guess, consuming what you're only consuming what you need. I guess you're only buying what you need if you're being responsible in that sort of a sense. I totally think that organic small scale farms can feed small populations sectionally all the way around the entire globe.
We don't even have to talk about if, ands, or whats. Look at look at history.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody had a fucking garden and they fed themselves, and what they didn't get for themselves, they fucking traded for. So
And we're all
yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%
all
works.
here
It 100% does work, and it is sustainable. So that's not even an argument.
Well, there is an argument, though, which is everyone has an issue with time management in the 21st century.
Not when they're not eating. If you're fucking hungry, that's your number one priority. You'll go out there and fucking garden to get your food if that's the only way you have to get food.
You'll get food. It doesn't. We don't know if you'll garden or grab it, but you'll get food. Let's
Yeah, that's a very good, very good.
Want to talk human nature? Let's talk about big clubs and the softness of skulls.
Yeah. So when it comes to the whole agriculture side and feeding populations, the Mayan are a very good outline to look at for how they did it, because they essentially had to make land from nothing, and they produced enough food to feed a population of 2 million people at their peak. Come on. This is something that the asshole Spaniards friggin'
They made their soil, though. That soil was made by man.
It was arable land where they did slash and burn techniques. So it's like carbon, the whole biochar and all that produces a shitload of food.
Well, I was watching a Joshua Steensland video today, and he was showing how he's on his 10th cycle in his raised bed, and he just uses compost, cover crop, and then the plant itself. And he was saying that how he doesn't need to re-amend the beds. He does have a microscope. He can check it, but that there's enough carbon in there and enough micronutrients that you would be amazed at how little it actually takes to grow food, especially if you're coming at it from a bottled nutrients way of thinking.
Well, according to Dr. Elaine Ingham, there's enough minerals in like a tablespoon of soil to sustain, I don't know, your entire crop. Like
sand. She said sand specifically.
Sand. So specifically sand. So the minerals are in the sand, and then you just have to extract them out.
Skunky Bud said it's called Terra Preta. Thank you. I could not remember what it was called.
What was it was like an acre. It was like an acre worth of plants or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, an acre. She said she said all the, this is how I recall it, and I could be a little off, but I'll try to get it as close to exactly what she said. And it was, because it blew my mind when she said it. I think she said, would you say a tablespoon? I don't remember the measurement. I couldn't remember if it was a handful or
it was like a handful or a tablespoon. Yeah, it was
whatever.
Let's say a handful. Let's say a handful because we're talking about we're talking about acres. So let's just say
a handful. I think it was a tablespoon though. I do too.
Almost sure it was. I think it was a tablespoon
of sand contains enough mineral nutrition to grow an entire acre of corn. So it's just a matter of unlocking that and, of course, spreading it around so that the plants can access it.
So as a city guy, I think you say corn, I think high nitrogen, right?
Well, the minerals that you're needing, like you can get nitrogen from all your compost and stuff, but a lot of times where you're missing and lacking is it's going to be a mineral. Like some of the things that are taken, especially we're talking about cannabis, calcium will be a big one. Like I don't know how Joshua Steves, his plan was to just compost his plants into his beds, and harvest his buds, but those buds are going to have plenty of calcium needing inside them to build buds, and he's going to have to replace that eventually, or they're going to suffer, and they're going to suffer quick, I would imagine. I don't know how he's going to get around that without at least adding some outside source of compost or.
Well, he is using compost, and then there's also the exited exchange between the cover crops and everything else.
Oh, he's running cover crops too. Okay.
Yeah, but he's not actually re-amending, as in like adding this, adding that, adding the other. So it's interesting. Go check out his channel. It's pretty cool. It's not that long. It's like 7 minutes long.
You have to think of the sand as like a dense mat, is like a mass. Like so we're thinking of like a tablespoon or a teaspoon of sand as being, it's only a finite tablespoon of sand, but if you crush that sand down into particles that you can't even see, it's going to explode into a mist that can, you know what I mean?
It'd be similar to like rock dust.
You really got to open up.
Similar to those raw nutrients, those little packs when you go to the grocery store and you see the raw nutrients of, whatever you happen to see there, you'd be like, holy shit. Exactly. And when you start reading the directions, you're like, this is going to make 300 gallons of solution. Holy shit.
And these are like molybdenum. These are like all
molybdenum?
The other stuff. all of the other macros and micros. You know what I mean? All the goods that you need. Yeah, boron and all that stuff that's in the soil.
It's
We're
funny you
seeing
say
calls for
boron.
recharge.
It's funny you say boron because when I was talking to Steven Reisner, he was telling me that in all his testing that he does with the aquaponics, that he sees most of the mixes for the cannabis nutrients a little bit low on boron. They have like the minimum amount you need, but he actually, I don't remember how he said he adds it to a system, but he's bumped the boron. He actually has to bump boron up all the time. So that's just
Can't
something that's
remember.
stuck in my mind to look into one of these days.
Is it molybdenum or boron that has the twisting new growth on the tips in the plant? I can't remember which one it is. It looks
I don't
really,
know.
really weird.
I'd have to look it up to be
Yeah,
sure.
you'd have to see the
I don't
picture. Yeah.
I don't know the micronutrients that off the top of my head like that. Those ones are tough. But
I think
when I
it has
see
to do
twisting
with
these,
whirling. I think it's whirling.
yeah, the twisting that usually my first guess when I see that is pH issues.
No,
Just
I
think of
thought
that
the
in water,
whirling
too
was
much
where
water.
it threw up 3.
I didn't hear
Is
the
that
first
right?
part. What'd you say?
The whirling part's where it throws 3 at one node, or is that something else?
Sure about that.
I don't know. I haven't heard of the whirling. To be honest, I don't know what that really is. This is the first I've heard of it.
Cheers, guys. We have 80 people hanging with us right now. We've been going for a half hour, and I just want to say once again how nice it is to have Spartan and Norwell with us, and to be able to talk outside the box a little bit. So hopefully you guys are able to kick back, relax, and unwind at the end of your day. Hopefully you're smoking along with us, and let's see where the conversation goes from here.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you for having me. Oh, Mac 1.
Absolutely. That is a crew favorite right there. And Spartan, he's never stingy with it, guys.
No,
You know, sometimes you get the guy that's like the Daffy Duck, you know, mine, down, go, go, you know, with the pearl to the wrong turn at Pismo Beach, all that shit. But Spartan, he just gives it away. And he's always surprised because people don't take it all from him.
It blows my mind every time. I don't take, maybe I should just make this announcement every time I go out to events. I don't take anything that I expect to come home with. So don't feel bad about taking bud. That's why I brought it. It makes me feel good to share. And I think it's not just me. I mean, cannabis kind of brings that out in people. I think when somebody, especially growers, when you grow something and it's great, you want to share it with everybody. You're like, look at this. This is great. I did this. You know what I mean? It's so that it's not like it's, I mean, yes, I'm trying to be generous, but at the same time, I get something out of it. I get something out of it too. It brings me happiness too.
Well, and you're turning a lot of people onto it. A lot of the people that are in the larger Groski community have not come across it yet. They haven't had a chance to smoke it yet. They don't know anybody that has it. They're not going to pay premium dispensary prices on some shit. So, you know, you're showing a lot of love to the plant and everyone else. So,
well, that's so you have to remember, you know, this all, I don't know what you call it, YouTube fame. I'll call it that. I'll admit to that much. I don't consider myself super famous, but this YouTube fame that it's kind of actually been building for the last couple of years. It's kind of just been fast as hell. But I still remember being that person in chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hearing about all these strains that sound so great and never ever even getting a chance to do anything with it. Now I have some of those clone only strains. Of course, I'm going to try to share it because I know what that feels like to not be able to ever try it and just hear about it all the time. So, you know what I mean? It's just life experience. It's just the older I get, the cooler I get because I've been beat down enough to know, you know, I've learned from my mistakes. So just keep making mistakes and eventually you learn a lot of shit and life gets way fucking easier.
it's the one good thing that Sequence and I have had the fortune of is that all of you that have found your way into, you know, the panel and the crew and stuff is you guys are all awesome growers. And of course, everybody's going to say that about people that they know. Oh, he's an awesome grower. But the fact that everyone is a better grower than I am inspires me, not in the sense of like, I got to pick my game up, but like, damn, I can finally ask these questions that I've had for years and years and years when I was the guy on the keyboard rather than the guy on the camera. And I can actually pick these guys' brains and they help me. And then the bonus of it is that's what the whole show is we're trying to help everybody. And we're not saying we're authorities on anything, but we can tell you what we've experienced. We can tell you things that we've seen and the ways that we've grown. But, you know, as Spartan was saying earlier about new information, with the one thing I'll say, a silver lining for 2020 is that the community on YouTube has come back bigger than it really ever was in any time that I've watched it as far as live interactive streams. There's so many good channels out there, and I don't want to name any of them because I'd have to name every one of them. But everybody in these chats watches all of these different shows, and the new information that you've learned in 2020, you gotta hand it to them. You know what I mean? That's everybody just sharing the information, and I personally think that's what this is all about, man.
And honestly, that's what I'm doing when I jump on these shows. I'm just learning, and everybody else gets to listen in as I'm learning too. Because of some of the stuff, you know, I've learned probably 80% of my growing, probably like that, from just these kinds of shows, whether I was on it or not.
It's the abundance mentality. All right, here we go. Wormhole time. The abundance mentality. Call it karma, call it laws of attraction, whatever you want to call it. But we're giving out. And, you know, I don't think any of us are really expecting anything in return because, you know, we're all just kind of doing this with our own free time and just kind of hang out and bullshit, get stoned and talk and whatnot. But we're giving, we're getting out there. And in return, I mean, I have definitely, you know, my life's turned around a lot. You know, I'm seeing the laws of attraction work in both ways. You know, I'm progressing, my farm's progressing. I'm being able to add more lights while getting my veg up and running and things like that. I feel a lot more motivated, you know, having a group and a community to share ideas with and things like that. So I think it's an abundance mentality. I mean, give, you receive, you know, it's that whole thing. You know, like I said, call it karma or whatever you want, but it's abundance in the end.
Well, shout out to Fresno. I don't want to act like I wasn't listening, but I totally agree. But I just saw Fresno Nerds. Is that the same as the California Fresno Weed Nerds? I don't know if it's the same one or not, but shout out to you either way.
Oh, I want to give a shout out to Dro. He hooked me up with some fruit salad rosin that he made with Select that I'm about to try right now.
That's a strain, or is that just like, are you saying it's multiple strains mixed together?
Multiple strains mixed
together.
together.
Okay.
That Red Setter Farm 2018 house blend, baby.
Everybody's called it something different.
You're smoking on the house blend?
No, we're talking
there's
about
just
house
a whole
blends.
bunch of different ones. There's a bunch of different ones floating.
We
around
are
this
cruising up on hash time. You may want to think about getting your accoutrements out. And
what do we got? We got 20 minutes.
We got 20 minutes. You know, you got to give us time to get our shit together.
I think I'm gonna do that.
I got some Yeti stash for hash.
We can do the 2018. I
I've
was thinking
got
about the Apollo.
Then they got me all. No, I've been smoking Apollo for 3 weeks now. I'm gonna smoke like Apollo flower. Like I'm smoking Apollo flower right now. It's in the bong. It's in the joint. A little burnout. I think I'm gonna do that mixed stash. I almost want to tap into this Girls Gone Wild, purpley derply here. I'll just in case anybody sees
man.
this one, I'll just show. I may bump into this. I don't know. Let's see. It's not dark. It's actually purple. Well, I guess it's dark. It's okay.
I'm gonna do the GDP dry sift when it comes
There
time.
you go. So that little bit that you have there is like all of it.
Yeah, man.
That was my scrapings and I just I didn't even weigh that out. I don't even know what it is. It's probably a couple grams.
It's fucking full of shit, dude.
Yeah, it was a good couple grams. So you got that one. I'm excited. I think that's gonna go in my next round. I'm gonna do some Granddaddy Purple. I have some in veg right now, so I'm gonna take some out to the farm when I do my next transplant and get that one running.
So we're talking about stuff. I got one for you before we swerve off since Spartan is here. What is in your shopping cart and what has been in your shopping cart for over a week, Red?
Dude, you talking about the
Spartan already knows.
Extractcraft fucking Source Pro. Hey, you know, this might not be a bad place to shop this out.
There you go.
If anybody knows the discount code for Extractcraft, the Pro, shout that out. I did try the DGC. Shout out to the Dude Grow Show. I tried the DGC. It does work for the I think Dude works for the Turbo, but it doesn't work for the Pro. I'm looking for a code for the Pro. But if I did put up in there also that I put a little note in the sidebar saying that I heard about their product from the Michigan Bros Grow Show, so maybe we can start getting a couple Spartans using it. I'm using it. Maybe they'll want to give us our own code for them, maybe in the future. So it's
That
kind
would
of
be
my
cool.
plan. So it would be.
Maybe we get them on. Maybe we get them on and interview them. That'd be
And
cool.
we'll get them
Yeah,
on and
man.
interview them also. Not a bad idea.
Love to.
So maybe
Because
with
I
some
think it's
support
one
from
of the
chat.
it's a game changer, man. Because when you think about how much FSO caregivers give away, there's got to be a way to give back to the caregivers, and that's through being able to reclaim the perfectly distilled alcohol back so that they can do another run. Because sometimes that's the limiting factor in cost, is to be able to purchase a gallon of high grade potable alcohol.
And I don't
Right?
just want to use it. Yeah, and I don't want to just use it for obviously I have my own trim and everything that I need to process, and my own flowers I need to process, but like cleaning alcohol, all of the stuff that I clean all of my scissors and all that stuff in, why not like reuse that alcohol? Why just let it sit there and evaporate? Why not like dump out my container, like my bong, like when I'm cleaning bongs and shit and I got that nasty stuff, why not dump that into there? I'm not saying I'm going to eat that stuff, that oil. Maybe it can be used as a topical or something like that. Maybe it can be used in a bath. I don't know. But if that FSO, I don't know. Maybe it's compost, but you'll reclaim the alcohol. And I think that in itself is a huge benefit, consider right now has been a huge ISO shortage. We can get food grade alcohol easily. So it's a little bit more expensive. So if we can try to conserve that cost as best as we can, I think that that alone will help offset some of the cost of the machine. And then not to mention, of course, the medicine that we can make out of it is going to totally offset the cost.
So last night I took that 0.83, and I didn't say why, but yesterday I ended up moving a whole house for someone, and I'm old and broke down
0.83 at
already.
once.
Yeah,
That was
that's
at
what.
once. Nice.
Yeah, that's if what I did is I completely filled the large side of a 00 capsule. So after I teared it out, it ended up being 0.83 of it, and that was.
Please tell me how that fucking worked out, because holy shit, I wouldn't even attempt that.
That was pretty good, man. There was a little bit of itchiness in the beginning, like you're like, "Whoop, hey now," but when sleep came, it was restful. And then the best part about it is, when I woke up today, I'm not stiff at all. So it seemed to really do what I wanted it to do. So thank you again for that. It's wonderful. And as far as just diving off the deep end, I don't think I would do that much again. It's like a maintenance dosage, because that could get kind of carried away quickly. I still want to be able to have it work.
It's too easy to build a tolerance to that stuff, man.
I think so. Well, the thing is I consume a lot of it during the day. I don't take FSO, but I smoke joints all day long unless I'm at work. And then as soon as I come home, I'm back at it again.
I took a 0.44 this morning. I was like, I'm not going to take another half a gram before noon like I did yesterday. So I took like a 0.44, but I didn't even feel it. I went, I had some errands and shit to run, and I had some stuff to do. I really didn't even feel it. I didn't get groggy, tired. I just went on with my day. And then yesterday,
your micro doses have become macro doses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yesterday, I ended up consuming a little over a gram throughout. I took some in the morning and then some later before the show in the evening. So there was maybe like an 8 or 10 hour span in between the two, but it was about a gram or so. And, no negative effects at all. I didn't really even get sleepy, but here's the thing, man. I don't sleep very well. I think I've talked about this before. My notifications and alerts and shit have always gone off on my phone. I've been that middleman or that guy pretty much my whole life, where phones just kind of going off at all hours of the day, all hours of the night. A lot of times when I was younger, I would answer those calls. So I still kind of like wake up to them in my older days. And you know what? I don't sleep very well. So any little sound I'm waking up to. In the last couple of nights, I was getting full 7-8 hours of sleep, which I don't think getting 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep is too healthy. I kind of believe that whole 8 hours of sleep routine is the best way for your body to repair itself every day, and for you to go on, for your immune system to be well off. So I've been trying to get a decent amount of sleep, but it just never happens. It never works out. You guys know that. I'm always in chat. I'm always up working, doing something.
Got Tara
So,
Wilson syndrome.
yeah. So I, finally have been able to get a good night's rest, man. I'm in bed, 11, 12 o'clock, and I'm finding myself not waking up until like 8:39. Dude, I slept until like 10:30, I think, yesterday. I got like 9 hours of sleep. Yeah, I got like 9 hours of sleep, man. I haven't done that in a decade, I think, maybe. I don't know. For the longest time working the kitchen shift, I was doing 3, 4, 2.5, 3 hour nights, sleep
Said
nights,
it's that
stuff like
Apollo.
that. I don't know. It's definitely not. The Apollo for me is a lot cheesier. It's more of a daytime smoke for me. It doesn't get me too down. It actually wakes me up a little bit more. I can't stop talking right now, and that's all.
Dude, I love the dry sift of it, man.
That's one of the reasons I keep it around, is because it just holds that flavor for so long. I don't know,
Years.
like years. It just years, and it still smells like stinky feet and cheese and funk. And yeah, it just doesn't go away. It doesn't turn into grass or hay. It's great. I'm gonna pack a bowl or a roll of joint or something.
Yeah, what's that we're gonna do? Here we go. What are you gonna use this time?
I'm gonna fire up this awesome bong that you got me, Scobo.
Right on.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
So I just want to jump in and say that was the Fresno Weed Nerds from the old Weed Nerd episodes. They would be in chat all the time. I think they might have been on a few of them, and they came on Eagle Garden show. I think I'm pretty sure I saw them on there. But it's just cool. It's like a blast from the past for me. When I remember I was saying, I used to be the person in chat. I used to be like that. It reminds me of seeing somebody from way back then. It's cool to see him still in the game, still doing it the same way, doing it right. So
the same way about the guys from the Grow Tube Roundtable is, I'm always going to respect those guys because they were the inspiration for me to come up with this.
Yeah, and they kind of paved the way for us. You have to respect the people that did it first. I mean, there might have been people before them, but those.
And it was Hash Church before that, but yeah,
and they're still going. Hash Church still fucking going.
Exactly.
Or Dude Grows. I mean, come on, shout out Dude Grows on DGC, man. Those guys. That
was always your hat in the beginning.
Yeah.
Always.
Sitting right behind me. They give us a lot of love. I mean, Michigan Matt's been on their show a couple times. I see him wearing Scotty wears our shirt from Mitten Canico a lot. So yeah, I got a lot of love for the DGC. Hopefully one of these years I'll be able to get out to Colorado and go to a DGC Cup. That would be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that too, man. That would really be cool. I mean, I've never been to Colorado, so I think that would be cool in itself. Just kind of see like where the legal scene, I suppose, kind of began, in a sense, and kind of where it is.
Yeah,
today.
I've never been there either, so I'd love to check it out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they tried to say sequence wasn't allowed here. Come on now, Rob.
Hey, Red Setter. There's a book about sleep that's actually really good. It's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It explains sleep and why we should get a certain amount of sleep, and that everybody has an optimal amount of sleep that they need to get every night.
It's different.
I think I don't know if it was the same dude, but Joe Rogan had a guy on. I don't remember. I don't think it was this year. Maybe it was last year, but talking about that, it really opened my eyes on sleep in general. And they kind of poo-pooed on cannabis because it shuts down the REM sleep. But
that was the one. That's why I was thinking about getting the full 8 hours of sleep. So is important to me as well. Wow, that was a terrible English statement, but
I understand what you said though.
There's also a study out there for veterans with PTSD that they actually ingested, or they used so much cannabis to actually fall asleep, and they got sleep, and it helped with their symptoms. And it's actually approved by the government too, and it's published, and it's actually some good research out there on the side of cannabis.
I want to be a part of one of those sleep studies that have to do with cannabis and THC, because I'm on the side of the spectrum that remembers my dreams and dreams every single night, and I consume I don't know, grams of FSO in a 24-hour period. I'm really confused about that one, because that's not me at all. Like I'd have crazy dreams. Like I said, I don't want anybody to psychoanalyze me, so I'm not going to get into them. But I dream every single night. Sometimes they're repetitive, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're brand new. But most of the time, I recall them and remember them well throughout my day. A lot of times, I almost feel like I'm sort of reliving them in a sense of like deja vu and things like that.
I'm so fucking jealous of you, dude.
I know, man. Fuck.
I would
I don't
love to
know.
be able to remember one dream. It's been years since I've
I
remembered.
talk to a lot of people who consume cannabis and nobody remembers their dreams. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm in them
Oh,
often.
Infrequently. I remember them infrequently.
I'm
Yeah.
sleeping. You
I know that I'm
obviously.
dreaming, but you know.
Well, there's a
Bob
the
Gross
only,
remembers.
the only way I can remember my dreams if somebody like wakes me up in the middle of it, like if I'm having a bad dream and I'm making noises and shit, and somebody wakes me up, then I can remember what the fuck. But otherwise, I don't ever remember them.
Red, this is going to be a Neapolitan, man.
That could have something to do with mine. Also, I'm thinking about like how often I'm always waking up in my sleep, and maybe I'm just always waking up throughout my dreams, and maybe that's why I remember them. And maybe I don't know if I remembered my dreams in the last couple of nights because I had such a good night's sleep. So
Your ass was out, right?
I don't know. Maybe I remembered some dreams the last couple of nights. I know I did. Otherwise, yeah, it's always kind of my when I heard that on that guy on Joe Rogan, I was like, bullshit, that's not true. But then I heard a lot of other people start talking about it. I was like, maybe it is true, but maybe I should be part of that study also because maybe there's outliers. I don't know.
For sure. I think just like in cannabis, we're all just biological things, man. There's gonna be outliers. I want to shout out Nut Tree real quick. He just
you got me. I was on it too. I was like, I'd like to shout out Nut Tree 420. Thanks, brother, and we look forward to seeing you in many, many more of these chats. Cheers.
That's very awesome. Thanks so much.
And it's so cool to see it because in my chat it's highlighted in green and the text is in white. My two favorite color combos. I mean, it's the best.
I wonder, huh?
So since Dog in chat is another one of our members, he has asked me a question in both. He reached out to me in my instant message, and he also reached out and he's already brought it up in the chat here once. So maybe after hash time we'll get to it, but I'm gonna go back and fill everybody back in on what's been going on with the Fluence debacle that I had situated and everything that was going on. So we'll do that after hash time. So we got another 8 minutes and everything. We can kind of keep blowing some smoke until then. So tune in. Oh, I just want to keep everybody on the
Red. This is going to be a Neapolitan between the GDP and the flow. It's a double. It's a double stack. Double stack.
And that's the last you heard from Scobo for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to load myself up.
Are you going 7 minutes in early? I was thinking
no. Yeah, we're gonna wait.
So I've been I don't know. I took my RSO right before the show, and that's hit me. I can feel my ears turn red. Yeah, they're super red. This Mac is fucking getting me so. I mean, my eyes are starting to droop. I can tell. So by the time I'm not gonna pack for a hash yet. I can get this bowl done before I do another hash bowl. But for my hash bowl, I'm gonna pack. I've already decided. I'm packing this Mac, and I'm gonna do the scissor hash, the whole fucking house blends. Not scissor hash, but dry sift off the bottom of the tray.
Oh, nice.
And then I'll see how long I can stay up after that.
I'll see. Dro is going to join me with that. He's going to do a mixed dab to go along with my mixed sift here.
Yeah. Does anybody heard? This is a good question. How do you say his name? Dirty Michigan QWERTY says, is there any word from Vader? What is going on with the ocean grown guys and the grow tube guys? They kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Grow tube was supposed to be doing another summer vacation and then coming back in like September or something like that. As far as ocean grown, I've only seen questions asked. I haven't seen any other information as far as that goes. But the grow tube thing, that's public knowledge. Doggo had actually announced that, I believe, on their most recent episode, which was almost
it was a while ago now.
3 months ago. I mean, it was probably back in May.
Oh, I don't think. I think it was. I don't know, man. I don't think they had anything this whole year, had they?
No, it was like pre-pandemic. They came back for a hot second.
Was it
Yeah.
pre-pandemic? I was thinking it went a little further into it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just barely into the new year. Yeah, they did a few episodes, and shout out to those
They're
guys.
all
You know,
they're all
hope to see
busy
them back
though.
again.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
it's a lot to do these. You know what I mean? Like
it's an
there's
evolving industry. It's an evolving,
Yeah.
like everybody's has evolving business plans. Everybody has evolving. I mean, look at us, like how often we're shouting out different ideas in chat, and everything's constantly changing. In Michigan, our laws have changed 3 to 4 times in just a handful of years. So, compound that upon what those guys have. They're all in different states too. So, I mean, now you're talking how many different laws are changing, and so everybody's got to constantly be changing up. Signs of the times. Shout out to Prince.
I'm sorry, I was totally fucking blown away. I just saw a comment in chat. Rob said that. I'm gonna find it. My old lady threw away my scissor hash when I left for the store. Oh my god, I'd be so devastated. Oh my god.
gotta put your things away, man.
No, you gotta get your new old lady.
I mean, I would almost consider digging in the fucking garbage, to be honest with you.
Norwell said, "Get you new old lady."
Hell, take her hair dryer or hair straightener and go piss on it.
Might as well use it and press a few
Oh
bugs
yeah.
out first. Get
Well,
something out of
using
You
it.
gotta get some rosin out of
Don't
that
just get
first,
fucking
man.
electrocuted.
Yeah, make sure
Don't
it's
listen
not
to
plugged
your
in.
yourself. Now you're getting jingled and you got nothing to, comfort
Well,
yourself
I
with
wasn't gonna
afterwards.
plug the damn thing in and piss on it.
Well, there you go.
I would be trying to dig out of the garbage so I can throw it in some alcohol and maybe fucking get some
Give it a quick
FSO
wash.
out of it or something.
Ooh, Shredder has Sour Kush Bubble. Wasn't that Sour Kush that I got off of you, Red, from a long time ago? Is that what that was?
Seeds.
No.
Sour Kush seeds. Sour Kush flour.
It was that flour.
Okay, so this is what that was. This goes back to strawberry sour Kush. This goes back to a strawberry sour Kush that it was bag seed strawberry sour Kush. I want to say Skywalker OG. All right. So I pick up a pack of like 4 or 5 different strains from my buddy. I get Skywalker OG loaded with seeds, strawberry sour Kush, few seeds, a couple other strains, few seeds. So I'm thinking Skywalker OG, that's the herm. So I'm thinking that's the female pollen. They got everything else. So strawberry sour Kush ended up popping one of those seeds, which is probably strawberry sour Kush times Skywalker OG. Ended up growing that plant out and running it for a while. I ended up calling that sour Kush. So what you got there was that hermed. That didn't herm. Something in my garden at one time hermed and pollinated my entire garden. That plant threw a ton of seeds. So now that sour Kush had a ton of seeds that I'd still call sour Kush. So that one just like basically like I don't know the S1
It's a
version
herm
of that
bomb.
sour Kush that I have, which I call it's not it's a completely different thing. It's basically strawberry sour Kush times I'm gonna go with Skywalker OG, and then so yeah, so I grew it last year. I popped I think a 6-pack of seeds or something like that. They're all feminized. I grew 3 of them to fruition. I kept 3. I kept the top on one for the seeds. I kept a couple tops of another one for the seeds. And then the keeper was, it's actually on my Instagram, probably way back last August somewhere, but it's an outdoor bud. It's outdoor flower that's just loaded with crystal. That's a flower that you got, Scobo. That's a flower that you smoked. And that's a flower that has seeds in it, which is the green room male.
Green room male. Okay.
Green room male, sour Kush, S1, female is what you smoked. Is what
Because I had that and the roseberry.
So they should be regular seeds.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have issues with hermaphroditism.
Put that herm bomb up in your room. Let's go
Shouldn't
get it
have,
done.
like, I'm gonna let you know that it was an initial herm bomb, and I'm gonna let you know that the breeding was done outside, so it might herm on you. Might want to grow it outside next year. And at that note, it is tap time. Hash time. I gotta quit talking and start packing.
I was just so ill prepared.
That's
I
what
told you
happens.
guys 20 minutes ago it was
Dude,
coming up.
I haven't
I
shut
told you
up
we needed
for
this
20
time.
minutes, man.
20 minutes. Jeez, that's way too much time. You gotta tell me like 5 minutes before. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I forgot in that 20 minutes. I had my hash sitting here. I'm smelling it. I've been
All right.
poking around. Narwhal, what kind of are you got some hash or
I
a
got
dash?
some Yeti's cake from Yeti Stash.
Nice. Shout out Yeti Stash.
Yeah.
I need to try his rosin. Try his gummies. They're really good. Nice.
Yeah, he came through on last night's Bro Show Live. If you didn't get a chance to check it out yet, make sure you put that in your watch later queue.
Yeah, it's nice seeing him pop on pretty semi-regularly now. It's been very nice.
Red, this is nice.
The Granddaddy Purple with what was the other one that you said? Flow, is that right? That's got to have a nice flavor to it. It's probably got a decent amount of little gassy edge on there with a little bit of fruit and a little
It's a
bit
little
of
bite up here.
citrus. Sounds good. All right, I'm gonna bubble this.
Shout out to fucking Beardman Farms. My bearded brother, he knows what's up. He was complaining about the mask. Like, you see this crease right fucking here in my beard? It's from wearing masks. I hate that.
Just imagine if you cut it back that short again. Look at it. He's like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't have any inkling to really shave it again, but it wouldn't kill me to do it. Because I mean, this is, I think, be 2 years old now, this beard. So it only took 2 years to get to here.
Not bad.
Let's see here. I'm gonna answer once we get into this hash here. Once we get this rolling, I'm gonna answer Dennis Cartes. You're Dennis Carts. Dennis Carts' question about collecting and finding patients as a caregiver. Let me bubble this here for just a couple seconds, and we'll get rolling on that topic for a couple minutes.
I want to shout out High and Tight and fucking, because the comment is fucking killing me over here.
Cthulhu.
But I don't know how to say. I don't know how to say that fucking word.
Cthulhu.
Okay, I feel like Cthulhu with a mask on. It's fucking hilarious.
Scobo, you know all the names, man.
Yeah, man.
That's the octopus face thing, man.
Yeah.
All right, so caregivers, first things first, you need to be able to pass a felony background check. You're not supposed to have any felonies, so check that on your list of getting your ducks in a row. Secondly is how to find patients. There's this place by me in the Ann Arbor Ypsilanti area called Elevation Station, and they kind of network patients and caregivers together. You can check them out. There may or may not be a few other places similar to that do exist. There's nothing illegal about those kind of networking businesses at all. I personally take my patients specifically to a place in Ann Arbor. I don't think that they network patients and caregivers together, but friends, family, start there. I would also, vet those people through friends and family on, because you are giving some personal information up. You're giving up your address, sometimes, other bits of information about yourself, depending on how you go about vetting each other. So there's all kinds of like ways you can go about that. Now, does the state say that they have to necessarily pay you for your product or anything? No, but the state does say that you're allowed to accept donations to cover any of your costs. So
Including labor.
Including labor. So keep that stuff in mind. And you do not have to provide free product to your patients either. You can work in things like, for me, what I like to do with my patients is I take care of all of the doctor visit costs. I'll take them to the doctor. I'll pay for all of that stuff. I'll pay for the state fees. I'll take care of if they want to go through and do their checkups quarterly or month or biannually or whatever that stuff. I'll take care of those $45 payments or whatever they are. I'll also make sure that I'm always providing the right types of medicine, or at least can guide them in the right direction of getting the right kind of medicine. And us having this wonderful network that we have, we can pretty much solid get anything from flower to vape to oils amongst our gifting and trading abilities that we have amongst ourselves. So
Yeah,
with
he's
all
saying
that
he's
said-
way up north, so he's wondering if he may be in a dead zone up there.
that may
That's
be
the UP.
possible. So okay, where Instagram
It-
might be a good source. Strainly, maybe. I mean, I've tried like Cannabuzz, any of these cannabis outlets, and check your
So-
local dispensaries.
Some people that I know can deal with that kind of situation by having pickup spots maybe once a month. So it's not a super long visit. So once a month, you might have a drive of 2 hours. But all of your patients meet you there. You know what I mean? It's like a central location for everybody, and everybody's only got to do it one fucking time a month. So like if you had family members that live kind of far away from you,
Do
you could be like, look, let's have let's go catch some dinner and
Right.
we'll exchange, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Are we able to shout out the safe transfer site that we know of?
Yeah, that'd be great. You could tell them.
Vehicle City Social, I believe, is a safe transfer site.
And that's
So
the one
you
that
could look into
everybody that I'm
by
talking about right
Flint.
now, that tends to be the place where they like to use.
Yeah, I went there with Eagle. It was nice.
So
It's
I
just-
know
it's just a
from
super good place.
I had a family up in the UP that had their card and they had patients, but they were getting charged like $250 for the doctor's visits per card up there. They're getting price gouged like ridiculously.
So I would just drive downstate and do it down here. I drive to Ann Arbor. I go the same place Red goes to, at Nature's Answer. Shout out to them. They've always been good, great. My sister, who lives at Boyne Mountain, way the hell up north, drives down to Ann Arbor to Nature's Answer, and she's actually had to go to court, and they went up and testified for her, and she won her case. So I can't shout those guys out enough. It's worth the
mean,
drive.
Yeah.
An 800-mile drive from the Wisconsin side of the Upper Peninsula is
Holy
worth
shit.
the drive.
Totally worth it.
It's totally
800
worth it.
miles.
It's, I mean, dude, it's worth the $300 doctor fee for sure.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
Fuck yeah. You're
see
gonna
some good
spend way
scenery.
less in gas.
Absolutely.
It's just, having a card is a protection, guys. I mean, I know that there's people out there going, well, fuck it. Why the fuck do these guys have cards when there's 12 plants rec legal? I get that. I do. But I've had my card since 2012, and I've never been hassled with it. Not once.
Extra protection, man.
Yeah.
Wrap it up twice. It is extra protection. You may or may not get hassled either way, okay? But if you have something in your system, it's a lot easier to say it's supposed to be in your system. You can deny blood checks, you can deny roadside tests all you want until they give you a blood analysis. So if it's in your system, it's in your system. But if you have a medical card, by the time it takes them to get to that blood analysis, you can have a good lawyer and be able to help yourself out with that. I'm not going to get into too many details. So anyways,
Well, no, it's basically, you're right. You basically,
I'm a constant consumer.
if you have a medical card, that means you are allowed to have it in your system. And then at that point, the prosecutor has to prove your impairment. Having a test saying that you're dirty in a test means nothing at that point.
and I'll sit here and smoke. I'll sit here and smoke all day and still ZYXWVUTSRQPONMLKJIGFEDCBA all day long. Doesn't matter how fucked up I am.
I see that. You must have practiced that a lot when you were fucked up, right?
Yeah, when I was a little kid. I was bored when I was a kid, I suppose.
Oh, that's a good, useful skill.
It is. Trick no good, Kappa.
No, just don't fucking talk. I would refuse a test, and I would just not talk.
Just pay your fine.
Not talk.
No. Yep.
Yeah.
Do what the what do the Pop Brothers at Law say? Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Not discussing my day.
I'm gonna have to fucking. I'll use my one call to call my son and ask him to come to the house, let dogs outside.
Am I being detained?
And that's
Am
it.
I under arrest?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly, Rob, for nature's medicine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I want
it's
to add some
affordable.
important. I want to add some important points about the medical card. Having the medical card gives you federal protection. Okay, all of these laws that are allowing these commercial businesses to operate and all that is only federal protection. Is the medical side of things. That's the only one that's got federal protection. When you start looking at rec, now you're legal in your state, but you're kind of not so much legal at the federal level. It's more gray area, but the medical area, it's kind of locked in black and white. You're protected. So super important when you're talking about walking on federal property.
That's that.
Ooh.
That's that memo. That's that memo that basically says that the DEA does not get the funding to be able to investigate anything further than selling to children or selling out of state, basically.
Well, what the way it's worded is they can't spend any federal dollars prosecuting anybody who's following all the local laws. So if you're following your local laws, they can't.
Right. Yeah, I was basically
prosecute
just
you.
using the two examples, saying like those are the two big no-nos.
Oh, yeah, because then you wouldn't be following the local law, and then that both state and feds could get you at that point.
Right.
Also, along the same lines, the government assistance here in the state, they can piss test now, and you can piss dirty, and not be able to collect unemployment. If you have a medical card, you can collect unemployment, so they can't do that to you. So I'm just saying, man, the medical card, don't give up on the medical card. So I just re-upped mine. So
That's huge right
did
now.
too.
I mean, look at the unemployment rate.
oh yeah, for
People
sure.
collecting right now. That looks great, Scobo. What you got there?
I want to shout out Tommy Tricombs for this ice cream cake, which is funny as fuck because earlier in the chat, if you scroll up far enough or if you were paying attention, he compared his ice cream cake to the new Blue Dream. So that's, oh man, he's a hell of a grower. Shout out Tommy.
Shout out Tommy. He is a hell of a grower. It was great seeing you last weekend also, briefly.
That's the ice cream man right there. We're calling him the ice cream man.
I want to stress just how affordable it is to get your medical card and how fast it comes to you once you
Yeah, man. It's not like it used to be at all.
It might not be fast driving from the Wisconsin side of the state down to Ann Arbor. Okay, that might take you a day or two, but it's worth it when it comes in just a couple of weeks in the mail, and then you have all those extra protections, and it only costs you less than what probably a half ounce of cannabis is going to cost, on the high side, on the high end side, so like at a provisioning center, like you're going to get your card and everything. You could probably even do a caregiver fulfillment and the whole nine for less than $100.
Damn.
We do like two for 100 over at Nature's Answer. They were doing like 2 for 8, 2 for 80,
twofers, baby.
like that.
Those ones are pretty backed up though. I've gotten in on those a couple of days, but one time I had to wait like fucking 6 hours.
Go on, I used to always go on a hash bash day because
everybody's busy and preoccupied.
it's a 4-hour wait. Expect to wait about 4 hours if you don't get there about 6 a.m. But you're in the heart of downtown Ann Arbor, and you can just scoot on over to hash bash when you're done, which is really cool. And they're usually barbecuing all day. It just so happens that and like a couple of my patients, all of our cards expire at the same time in that time frame. So why not take advantage of the discounts while you're at it? It usually worked out great. Yeah, and you get to hang out and barbecue, and they say don't burn in the parking lot, but everyone's burning in the parking lot. So, have a little bit of fun.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, actually they have a new location that I don't think is that might be a little bit different now. But anyways, still the same deal.
I want to just jump in real quick and say shout out to Tara Wilson, man. She's got to jump out, but she's got to get up early. So shout out to Tara.
She's got to get her 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. Right when you guys are logging out, she'll be waking back up.
We've crossed paths before like that in chat. It's either her or a shout out to Dankman Dan. Normish Micro also is quite the early bird in the chat.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up, my notification. I had to shut the notifications off for our group chat of course, you know, that thing's just always going off. So I'll wake up and it's amazing how far back that been going since like 4:30 in the morning sometimes, Scobo. You're up
You have
4:30 in
500.
the morning.
You have 503 new messages.
500 messages since 4 in the morning. I mean, I'm not waking up that late. It's not always a 10 a.m. day. It's usually 7:38.
Every
That's
time
respectable. That's respectable, man.
every time I open my Instagram and look at the Michigan Bros chat, it's like always says 9+ messages. And I'm like, yeah, 9+ my ass.
Nine plus 9 photos.
Yeah, times that by 100. It's like I'll scroll up like maybe 1 or 2 screens, and you know I'll get about 10% of what goes on throughout the whole day, maybe.
Okay, but let's talk about that. So this is what we do, and it goes all the way back to being on the other side of the keyboard instead of the camera. It's really shitty when you start off as a new grower, and I'm sure someone out there listening to us tonight is in this position. But when you're a brand new grower and you don't have anybody that you can talk to, you don't have anybody that you can ask questions of, you know, it's really great to have true instant messaging where you can ask questions and somebody will answer you within a very, very short period of time. And then the problem is the conversation's always going. So you just got to get in where you fit in with it. But that's great because that means it's heavily curated and monitored and everyone's checking it. So the chances of you being able to get good information, it goes up in probability. So you just have to open yourself up. And I'm not saying you need to swap your keyboard for a camera. I'm just saying that you guys, a lot of you are very, very active on social media. And sometimes when I look at your pages, I'm like, God damn, you guys are all way better fucking growers than I am. And it's cool because I learned from you guys too. So just all one big fucking question.
I like to just fucking hang out with as many growers as possible because we all rub off on each other. We all pick up each other's, you know. The only things you continue to do are the things that work. So then you can learn from each other. Oh, that works for you. Oh shit, I'm gonna try that. You know what I mean? Or oh, maybe it works in my situation, maybe it doesn't. But if it gives me a new idea, I call that a win, man. Just to
for sure
check one more thing off the list. You know, that's another thing is you can only fail so many times before eventually the odds are you're gonna fucking hit on something. So every failure, it's not. I mean, I don't feel too upset about it because I know, well, that's one failure out of the way. You know what I mean?
No, but it's nice to be able to put your failures in there as well, not because somebody's going to fucking mock you, but because you're passing along pertinent information to somebody like, hey, man, this is what I tried to do and this is what happened. So word to the wise, if you try this, you know, this may be. And somebody else could be like, well, here's why that happened. Check it out, Scobo. And then they'll break down to me where I fucked up. And it's not in a, you stupid ass, I don't even know why I waste my time talking to you sort of thing. It's in a, oh, hey, man, maybe you didn't know this, but. So it's all with love.
Yeah, but you're right about that. And you know what? Like even with social media, we'll say with posts, that's the posts that to me are the most interesting, and the posts that I find if I put something on there that's not a popular thing that's kind of out of the norm, those are the ones that get the most attention anyway.
Yeah, you want to read those?
So I mean, I think it's advantageous to kind of try things. Who cares if it's not? Don't try things for your whole crop, but try things in maybe one plant, and it's cool because everybody can learn something. You know, if they don't want to or they can't in their situation risk anything, they need to, you know, be sure because they need the medicine. I understand that, but they can learn through Instagram. So those kinds of people that try new things, I love that kind of stuff. I encourage it. That's why that's how I got you guys. Just stopped. Sorry,
I'm reading chat at the moment. No,
that's what I was doing too. I apologize, man. I was just checking for questions and things. I'm sorry.
Well, for example, like one of the things I'm trying and I'm loving is I'm screwing around with living soil, and I'm doing it in my sip containers. And for one, that's different because they're sip containers and not just a bed. And then the next twist is I use Coco Loco as my base of my living soil. Instead of using a peat-based living soil, I'm using a cocoa living soil. Now there's a lot of worm castings in there and shit. By now there's basically just fucking a compost pile that's growing weed. But I just put my autoflowers in there, so it's not really a risk. You know what I mean? I can fuck
Hey,
around.
now you can just get a ticket for your compost instead of the weed plants you grow.
Yeah,
man.
I'm waiting for them rats to come eat the dog shit in my backyard. It just hasn't happened yet. So I'm not even
Release
worried
the
about
rats.
We need to move to
He's
my
gonna
town.
release the fish.
Oh, it's only where narwhal lives. That's it. It's only there. There's a special breed up there.
Shredder is
Yeah.
trying to get your attention for something, Red. He said he can't tag you for some reason.
That's cool. Dro says,
What's up,
shout out
Shredder?
to Dro.
Go. I'll pay attention, man. What you got?
Now we get
Says
that 30-second delay, you know. So
Yeah,
Yeah, let's shout out Dro real
In the
quick. He says he's
meantime,
gonna try that same thing, but in a coots mix. That's gonna be great. So
Oh,
you're gonna
yeah,
do
man.
so he's gonna do cocoa, some kind of compost, hopefully like a worm compost. Would be my
castings.
best. Yeah. And then an aeration, and hopefully that would be like a pumice stone. That would be what Coot's onto right now, and I would recommend it too.
I think it might be Shredder asking if any of us want this Primal F2. It's about to show balls. It's gonna shop it. I think it might be a male. Oh, male. Yeah, there it is.
Honest.
Right in the beginning.
I do not want a male.
Yeah, I'm okay on the male. Thank you. Thank you very much, though. I appreciate the offer.
I'm not a breeder. I'm not a breeder on purpose.
You're just a Red Setter Farm breeder, right? Those fucking
Yes.
those herm bombs.
I did not say I
This
haven't
herm
bred.
Seventh generation herms. Don't forget
That's
those.
it. Oh,
Yeah, I have.
that's going back a
Seventh
few episodes,
generation.
Red.
Go way back. Go way back.
7th generation
You gotta
herm
go back so
terps,
far.
man.
I have an AK-47. I had AK-47 that the first year I was growing, it just hermed out, and I didn't know anything. Didn't know what to look for in a herm. And
Dude,
this
I'm telling you.
fucker seeded out so bad. It seeded out so bad that when I hung it, all the seeds just started raining out of that fucker. And so like when I came in to check to see if it was dry the next day, there was like fucking, I was amazed. It was like 150, 200 fucking seeds on the ground. I'm like, what in the fuck?
Straight for life, baby.
So I just grabbed the plant, right? And it just moves a little bit and it just starts raining again. I'm like, what in the, dude, I probably had I had like a sandwich bag full of fucking seeds. It wasn't like,
Anybody trying to grow AK?
yeah. That's why when anybody says AK to me, I don't even fucking, I'm already turned off.
Yeah, that was
said
the full
AK.
clip.
Yeah.
The full clip.
I still have those seeds, I think. But I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous amount of seeds.
Oh, shit. We've all done goofy shit or had goofy things happen.
All right. So speaking of goofy shit happening, I guess I'm high enough now to talk about the lights. So all right. So I'm not gonna shit on Fluence because they came through. Well, so far they've come through. So let's see. Let's go back. Man, I don't even know how long it's been now. It's been
In a minute.
4 weeks,
Like a
5
month.
weeks. Gotta be. It's been
Yeah.
probably been 4 weeks since I got them the first time. So they were on the back order. I spent the average 4 to 6 weeks waiting. Did I order these things in May? Have we been talking about this since May? Maybe. I don't know. So anyways, we'll go back. Ordered them. They came in, picked them up. I was able to fit 5 in my car. Daddy Red was able to fit 1 in his truck a few days later and drop it off to me. So I get them out, at the shop, and I go to open them up. And I'm looking through. The first one has a broken driver mount. All right, maybe thing busted during shipping. Not a big deal. The kind of looked opened too. Like the manual wasn't really in a bag like the rest of the stuff. The cord was just kind of dangling in there. So the lights that I got, you can order them with hanging mounts. Okay, so you can. All right, let me tell you about the lights that I got. They're the Fluence Razors, RAZRX. Okay, RAZRX. So they're a thin 3-strip LED. They're for vertical stacking. They're a 2x4 light up to a 3x4 light. Okay, you can kind of like spread them out and make them wider if you want to. They're adjustable. What's also really nice is aside from the hanging brackets, you can if you're going to be doing them in a vertical system and you're using, let's say, commercial steel shelving that have the little holes on the side of the racks, you can actually get these cantilever mounts that mount and hook into your shelves and they'll like extend the light out, and so you don't actually have to hang them. You can hook them right to your shelving units, right? Not the underside, but like the side, and it'll like stick out. So I'll update and I'll take photos and everything and show you guys all what I'm talking about in the future once I get all this figured out. So anyways, so I get the lights. So these brackets, the cantilevers, you have to order those separately. You order all the cords separately as a 220 or 110, you know. So you get the 110 cords, you get the cantilever brackets, and you get two, one for each side. You're supposed to get one for each side, a left and a right, and they're not interchangeable either. They're actually keyed a certain way. So you need a right and you need a left one, and you need the hardware. So so I open up the first box. There's obviously the broken driver mount, no big deal. It also looks kind of open. There's one bracket, there's a left bracket. All right, so I'm looking around, looking for the right bracket. No right bracket. All right, no big deal. I'll figure this one out. Okay, so I open up the next box.
Wait, no big deal. The fucking brackets aren't there. No big deal. No, I'd be pissed right there.
Yep.
I was, but I still had 5 more to go. So at this point, it was just an exchange. It was no big deal because it was already an exchange. It already took 6 weeks, whatever. It kind of sucked, but so I opened up the next one. This one also kind of had the appearance like some of the stuff, like the cord was just kind of tossed in there, but it was actually in the manual package and like kind of zipped up. It wasn't really affixed to anything, so it was kind of like banging around. The light was just kind of in like some foam, so there wasn't like a lot of stuff holding things around, but the brackets were supposed to just like be taped to the box, and these brackets weren't really taped to the box. They came untaped through transport, and we're actually moving around inside inside the shipping container, inside the box, banging around on the LEDs. So I'm a little unhappy with the first couple. I open up the third one. Again, all I have is one bracket, and it's just left. All right, so I go into the next light, the third or fourth light. This one has a tape dispenser. Just, you know, the whole thing, the whole tape roll is just sitting inside the box. Again, one bracket, you know, and all right, so maybe this is why everything's falling out, you know. This is where the tape went, you know.
Those are Friday after 3 o'clock.
Definitely Friday after 3. The other two lights, one bracket, no issues, no extra tape rolls, nothing crazy like that, no missing cords, nothing. But the one bracket thing, every single box only had one bracket. 3 of them had a left bracket. 3 of them had a right bracket. So somebody knew that there was right and left brackets. They just didn't know which lights got the right and left bracket when each light needed 2 of them. So anyways, so I have 3 sets of brackets amongst 6 lights. I have a broken driver mount light. I have an extra tape roll that I didn't order.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to me. So I end up getting on the horn with my grow store first. I was gonna try to just see if they could just handle everything and me not really have to deal with any of the shipping defluence or deal with any of that stuff, right? The grow store is more than willing to help me out. I send them photos. I send them, you know, a nice letter. You know, they're kind of just a middleman in the ordeal for the time being. So, you know, it's gonna be nice about it first. And so a couple weeks go by, or not really a couple weeks. It was pretty instant. At first, they were like, "All right, the one light is already on its way because of the broken driver mount. You already brought that one in. Now the other 5 are still sitting at the shop because I don't know if they're going to replace them or not. They're not wanting to replace them at first because they weren't broken, but I had to explain to them how there were banging around brackets and
the tape dispenser flying around inside,
and lack of packaging materials. And
the tape dispenser on the list of accessories.
Did you stress that it was a fully loaded tape dispenser?
Fully loaded with plenty of tape, tons of tape.
You had a tape dispenser and you set it down, and then you sealed said box with the different tape dispenser.
Dude, their issues. Here's their issue. They I don't know how many different tape dispensers they have, but the tape that seals the box says Fluence, and the tape that they were using was clear. So they probably have a few different tape dispensers. One dude, they got one on the left hand, one on the right hand. Dude's got a triple tape dispenser holster that he's got no idea what's going on because he grams a FSO a day. So anyways.
And now he's shy of fucking tape gun, man.
Dude, he's down. He's
somebody got shook down for that tape gun too. Where
totally down to tape gun right now. So
Where is the tape gun? Just tell us where the tape gun is.
Fucking living under a bridge now, Red. I hope you feel good about yourself.
my
Who's
my
the
grocery
QA
store
stamp
calls
on
me.
that?
My grocery store calls me. They're like, good news. They're gonna replace all 5. They're in shipping. We'll get tracking or whatever. Okay, cool. They already had the one light, so I went and picked it up. That worked out nice. So let me think here. So now we're about a week ago now. Maybe 10, 12 days or something, almost 2 weeks ago now. So finally get the call. Oh, I'm a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I'm over a couple weeks ago. I get the call. Oh, sorry, they're not going to replace your lights, but we do have the one showed up. Not all 6. Even though they told the grocery store they were going to replace all 6 for me, they only replaced the one with the broken driver mount. So fortunately, I was en route past the grocery store. I swung through the grocery store about 20 minutes after getting the phone call, and they just wanted me to email them back or whatever. And I just went up there and I said, all right, I'll pick up the one light now. Let's call the Fluence rep. So they get me on the phone with the Fluence rep. So I start talking about everything, this entire story, one more time to this guy, telling him everything, how absolutely unacceptable it is, not just all of the mishaps, but that these brackets are banging around in the boxes, that I'm not going to install these things and then have, broken diodes or whatever 3 weeks when I got plants under there and I have to start pulling and it's going to take 6 more weeks to get another light. No, not going to be an issue, So anyways, now this is where I started coming up and getting the fire. Consultation fees, the whole 9 started coming out. Michigan Bros Grow Show, you better believe it, everything. So long story short, I got 6 brand new lights shipped to me and 6 right and left brackets with hardware with 110-volt cords. So I have everything. No additional, I opened up all the boxes. No additional tape guns were sent. I am up 1 tape roll. I did not send that one back.
Still up.
Grocer asked me, I told the grocer, I said, I'm going to hold on to it. If they want it back, let me know. I'll bring it back gladly. But for right now, I'm going to hold on to it. So
I need that shit.
If you motherfuckers want it, you're gonna come up and get it out of my hand.
seriously, at this point, yeah. So
Red's holding the tape gun for hostage there. They got the proper resolution.
Somebody's gonna get my money's worth out of them.
No, I haven't plugged them in yet.
The tape gun.
I haven't plugged them in yet. So there's still that little part. Just basic,
Red, you just made the whole show with that whole rundown. You know that, right?
So I got to get them up. I got to get them put in. No, you cut out, man. I'm sorry. Either I cut out or you cut out. So
I said you just stole the show with that story, bro.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I try sometimes. Dude, I don't even know if it's over because I haven't plugged them in yet. I still gotta hook up my shelves. I really don't.
Stay tuned next week on Monday night, 11 p.m. Come back through. We'll have the resolution of the real story.
I'm confident in Fluence that they're all gonna fire up for me. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that I don't have.
Oh my
this
dude, you need to
I'm pulling lights in 3 weeks.
Why are you even talking? You should be plugging them in right now and seeing if they fucking work. But
Kazu said you need to start throwing that.
Let's see here. Two of the days I had limited electricity because of the brownout that I had experienced. Where I only had one leg of my panel working, and then another day, mind you, I'm only out there a handful. I'm only out there so many hours in the week. So the other portion of it was the complete outage for what was it, 26, almost 30 hours or something like that, where I had to get a generator and I could basically only run a couple of things. So
the Skilbo PSA came through for you.
Before
Actually, if you had to get it, you didn't have it. So
and then this week I had a power outage at my house, so I was out of power. Here we go. I'm making up words. I was out of power for most of the day earlier this week when the storms came through, but I was able to salvage all my cannabis plants. Nothing really got torn down when those storms came through. The winds came through at like, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, something like that. The trees were going crazy. My sunflowers, a few of them got knocked over, but the forest of sunflowers really held everything up. The plants aren't staked and they were fine. One of the plants, the Death Star, that was not in the sunflowers, that was also not staked, was tipped over. So I had to stake it up. So sunflower's doing a good job, man.
Wouldn't it be cool to fucking grow bamboo in like a fucking circle?
Yeah, man.
Doesn't grow it to fucking be your stakes already just growing.
That would be so sweet. You just go out every year, just harvest them.
Yo, I want, before I forget, fucking abolish farms. Fucking gold idea again. Abolish Farm. Shout out to you. That tape gun, Red. You gotta hook it up and give it to Abolish so we can include it as a prize in the next grow off or something.
It needs a holster first,
Hell yeah, that's great.
or a
That's great.
lanyard. You know, so you can do the quick draw thing, do the tricks with it, tape gun tricks.
You need to get an elaborate big ass trophy that's like 3 feet tall with it bronzed on top. And it just
We use
passes
you as
around
the
every year
statuette.
for the winner to grow off.
Can we use you as a statuette, Narwhal, and have you like holding it
Let's
up
get it
like Atlas holds up the world, and just be the tape gun?
Sure,
between
we
your
can do
arms?
two. We can
Right on.
We
We're gonna
know.
collaborate.
Wait
We got
Wait a
this.
minute. We know a guy. We know a carpenter, Dan. Come on, Dankman Dan. You can build us like a big wood base, so it's big enough that we can put plaques on it and just keep putting the winners' names. We just keep passing around like the Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah.
We like
yeah.
the press. The
Oh, the
press
Spartan
tape gun.
code.
I like that idea. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks to say the least, though, as far as that goes, and then all these power outages and everything. But
It's almost like it's been a long, strange trip.
indeed, dude, what a long, strange trip it's been, man.
Indubitably.
Oh shit, Kazoo in chat. How about a tape gun necklace, like Flavor Flav style?
There we go.
There
I
we go.
love it. Love it.
Fucking
Yoji,
awesome.
welcome,
You got to
man.
spin it around your neck too.
You're very welcome.
Do tricks with it that way.
I'll macrame it. I'll
We'll have to call it
macrame
some
it.
kind of a. We'll have to get the word sticky in there. Some kind of a sticky award or some shit, like your sticky
I'll make
tracks
a
or sticky weed.
big hippy dippy necklace out of macrame hemp or something for
Sticky Ricky.
I got that sticky icky. It's the sticky icky.
you. Sticky icky. I'll use the Girls Gone Wild plant as a matter of fact, and I'll pull threads off of her, and then I'll use that and turn that into hemp rope. Narwhal, you know how to make hemp rope, right?
Yeah, I know. I can make rope from fiber.
Yeah, there you go. So I'll bring you by. You can strip down the Girls Gone Wild after I harvest it, and then we'll make a
Oh,
hemp rope out of it, and then I'll take.
did you hear that?
take gun and
Red is
make a
asking
flip.
Narwhal if he'll be his stripper. I heard it.
I need you to come
No,
Just heard
by,
that.
But the question is,
bring your kilt, and
I'll come kilted.
the leather one.
come kilted.
Top hat.
Don't forget the hat. You gotta
Yep.
keep it
Gotta stay in
legit.
character.
Oh yeah.
Come on now.
Keep it gentlemanly.
Exactly. Are you blushing, Narwhal?
No, I don't blush.
There's a joke there.
I would like to use them for a little bit more than compost sometimes. I mean, I kind of use them for like hugel, I suppose. Like I'm putting them at the bottom of my grow beds and things like
Yeah.
that. I'm using them for compost, but it would be nice to like actually pull some hurd or some pulp or something off of it and mash up some paper, mash up some hempcrete or
I was just thinking hempcrete. It'd be cool. Just throw it in, mix
No.
it with your concrete.
like
Yeah.
I got a
The
big idea
hempcrete-
of my own patio stones, like
Yeah.
make my, and then
Pressings.
yeah, do a couple of my own molds and like for my garden, patio stones and stuff for the garden, and then like why not blend in some hemp hurd. I think it's just like a 1-to-1 ratio of 1-to-1 of lime, concrete, and hemp hurd, I believe.
What is hemp hurd?
Hemp hurd is like hemp is so like
Like the mash on the inside.
yeah, the inside.
Yeah, no.
Would-
Like
would-
white
The pit.
pulpy
Pit,
shit.
thank you. Yeah, I was really tongue tied with that one. That stuff.
Okay.
Once you get
Yeah.
past all
That's
the
like very
So would you have
technical.
to harvest your plant and then take all the buds off, and then while it's wet make this, or would you rehydrate off of a dried plant afterwards?
They actually, I've
So-
seen them. They actually throw the stems into like a puddle of water. I mean, this is obviously just the old way of doing it, and then they beat the shit out of them with like sticks.
until it just mashes down.
Yeah,
Okay.
just so that it breaks apart into the fibers and shit
Yeah.
eventually.
yeah, the fiber will pull apart and then that pith will come out.
Am I gonna find that video now? That would be kind of cool to watch.
So this is a good question. Have you guys ever seen this? DOG16 is asking in the chat there. He's a member, so I always want to pick these out at least. But it says, have you ever seen the seedling with the only the cotyledon leaves are out and not the true leaves after 10 days? All the other have come out with their second set, but this one's still sitting there with just the 2 cotyledon.
It's a
Yes.
runt.
Yes.
That's
It's
not
like
going anywhere.
cycling. Well, it will, but it's, you know, in my experience when I've had those, if they didn't die, they never really thrived as plants. And when I was playing with plant counts like that, those were the easy ones to get rid of to make the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
But
don't
it doesn't
become
mean that you
keepers.
can't baby it along. But you know what Spartan's going to say right on the tails of this, right?
I was reading chat. I don't know what Spartan would say.
But figured it would be the Spartan to kick those weaklings.
I would
Oh yeah, I mean, no,
Okay.
honestly, for me,
Give it time. But
no, for me, yeah, for me,
Eat
the
it,
seedlings
honestly.
are usually in a very small pot, and it's no big deal to take care of a little fucking seedling. You might only have to water it once a week if it's not even growing much. If it's not a big deal, just fucking keep watering it for a while, see what the hell happens. What do you have to lose? You don't have to give it nutrient if it's not fucking doing anything. Just give it a little bit of water. It might be the situation that it's overwatered, and so it's struggling to get much root growth. So you can try to let it dry out a little bit. Or it could be opposite. If it's getting too dry, you could be getting root die off, and if it doesn't have an established root system, it could be really super shocking to the plant. So you can make sure your moisture level is pretty good on them. But
you must
it's
be at a
usually not
successful rate, though.
it's
because
usually
your
not
difference
something.
works.
It's usually not something that's a good sign. So
Yeah.
if it's like a production standpoint thing, just what do you have to lose at this point? You haven't put much into it. Just fucking cut it and pop another seed or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
We're kind of
You're
assuming though that
you're
this
only
is
a
the
couple
same
days
strain
in.
too, though. It could be a different strain. It could be possibly different. You know what I mean? So
Well, nowadays even the fucking same strain is fucking wildly different seed to seed, and it's tough to just let one go. But like I said, if you're in a production standpoint where you're in a need for it, where you're gonna run out or something, I don't think it's worth that kind of a risk.
No.
So if it's not a big deal and you can push it off to the side and it's not going to be a
They're
situation
saying
like
there's
that,
more
cool.
seeds. There's
But-
other. It sounds like there's other seeds. This one's behind the other
Well,
ones, right? The other ones are.
Yeah,
all-
yeah. And
so I mean.
and if
not
we're talking about in the
yours.
state of Michigan and you're home grow, it's a caregiving thing or a rec home grow, that's considered a plant.
Yep.
So that counts against you in that way.
Yep.
So
That's
is
one
it
of your
worth
12.
is that worth that to you too? So you just have to make that
I'm-
call.
I'm gonna agree with Rob in chat where he says toss it. I'm gonna eat it because it's sprout, and sprouts have a ton
There
of
you go.
awesome energy in them. So I'm gonna eat that little sprout that's not doing much. I mean, you could run into the point where you're just literally waiting for oil-based paint to dry. I mean, you could just be watching this thing trying to sprout first set, second set of leaves, and all you're going to get is cotyledons because it literally is a runt or a mutant or something that's all the energy that it has stored up inside of itself is a couple cotyledons, and it's never going to come through. And you might sit there and wait for 2 weeks before you pop another seed, or you could wait 3 days before you pop another seed. So
Or it could eventually fucking start growing and be a completely normal plant, but it's like the best one you've ever grown too. So
But
I mean, you just got to weigh that's your choice.
executive decisions, guys.
it happened.
I would pick it because,
hidden potential in those seeds, so you don't know what that potential holds.
but like with my grow off plants, when I had dampening off and they grew fucking long, all I ended up yielding was fucking 8 grams from one fucking plant. So is 8 grams worth fucking all that time and effort? Nope.
Was that the natural thing of the plant, or would it be that if you took a clone of that and then got that clone in good health, that you could actually bring it back to health if it was medicine for you and rock and roll? And now you're getting, 4 to 6 ounces off of
I
it.
think it's the abacus, Skilbo. I think you bring out the abacus.
I could've-
You're talking about seed mothers and stuff.
Yeah. If I could have vegged it maybe a couple more weeks, I could have got it big enough to maybe take a clone from it. But with the time schedule, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it happens, and especially when you have other shit to get to. that you've got on deck in the vault that you're just like, you know what, this is a good time for me to just walk away from this one, and maybe I'll come back to it. I didn't pop all my seeds, but right now I want to focus on something else. If it wasn't killer smoke, don't keep growing it.
Yeah.
It's elementary, but still, how many of us have kept something beyond its expiration date with us, basically?
I do that all the time. All the time. I want to answer this question really quick because this is an important distinction. Mr. Manny D in chat, he's going back and talking about when I just said that that's considered a plant, because the legal definition for us as the caregivers under the Caregiver Act, or whatever the fuck it is, from 2008 or whatever, is anything with the roots is considered a plant. Now, and he says that the Michigan Cannabis Legal Group classified plant is either 8 inches high or 8 inches wide. That's the definition. Well, that's the definition for the commercial facilities, and that's what.
Does it actually stay in the MMMA? Not. All right, we're gonna go back to the caregiver. Does it actually say what a plant is defined?
Yes. Yep. And it says a plant. I think it said plant with leaves and stem, leaf, stem, and roots. It's a longer definition, but it's saying the definition basically is the requirements were roots, leaves, and a stem.
Because I thought all that got changed when the MRTMA redefined it as an 8-inch plant, but I haven't gone back.
No, there's two different. Everything that applies to the commercial facilities
the MMFLA
has nothing to do. Yeah, it has nothing to do.
Completely different
It's
statute.
No, I'm saying that they went back into the MMA and changed.
They would have to have another vote. We would have to vote on that because we voted that law in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or they would have to do it with a super majority.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't, because that's why I was wondering the same thing about the Cannabis Legal Group stating that. And from my understanding is it changed across the board, but I don't know.
I get emails from Laura every time for all the changes and stuff.
Right.
And I don't know. I could have missed one. I'm just saying, to my knowledge.
That was a long
time
ago though. That was back in 2016 when the MMFLA came through, that whole 8-inch thing happened though. And that was a long time ago. I got really, I can't even think back that far. That's when I was trying to build my facility and get licensed for medical. But that was what I was always shooting under, was the 8-inch rule. And I was just propping back.
But that's not, that's as far as I'm aware, it's still at the caregiver level, it's roots, and then at the commercial facility or medical facility, it's good. It's the 8-inch rule.
Yeah, it's in there. I'll freshen up. I haven't read that in a while. I probably need to.
And we actually asked, because that was a question we asked when we got assigned our representative, or whatever it's called, the contact that comes out and does all our inspections from that department, whatever the hell it is, the Board of Marijuana, whatever regulations, BMR is it? We asked, it was a woman, and we asked her, we wanted clarification on that, because there was the two definitions, and that's what we got, was like, well, that's the caregiver rule, and this is your rule. So that was how it was explained to us from their representative. So, I mean, unless things have changed, I mean, that's probably, less than a year ago. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's way less than 2016. So.
And what's that website people can go to so that they can check it out in the meantime?
Oh, fuck if I know.
you go to Michigan.gov. You go to licensing. You go to the
is it Laura still? Yeah, that's the licensing.
Yeah, so you can go under the Laura, LARA, Licensing and Regulations Act or something like that.
And then when you go to the marijuana, after that, you'll see one that says marijuana, whatever. Click on that, and then somewhere in that fucking menu, there's where you can put in your email address.
There's adult use marijuana tabs. Then there's the medical marijuana tabs, and then there's the MMMA. How many M's did I say? MMMA, which is so. All right, so let's break this down. MMMA is Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, and that is what the caregivers and the patients can be conjoined under legally. Then you have, and that goes back to 2008. Then in 2016, we had the MRTMA, which is the acronyms. I'm not going to
Whatever that one was.
and that is basically
Regulatory.
the Medical Licensing Regulatory Act, which is probably exactly what I just said. So that's the Medical Licensing Regulatory Act, is the MRTMA. And then just this past couple years with 2000, when did we do this? 2018, we passed Prop 1, which they defined as, they brought up new board as the MRTMA, which is the Michigan Recreational, da 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 da. So, so we have
But then they put them all together under the BMR. So everything was kind of smashed together into now it's the Board of Marijuana Regulation, and it's all together.
Ooh, I just have to speak on something. I see in chat, Dennis is saying
on the
I've been
website.
told.
Back to the website though, there's 3 separate there's 3 separate bills, 3 separate everything to look at. So if you are interested in any of that, go ahead, Scobo.
Dennis is under the impression that only flowering plants count, and I can assure you that would probably not be true if someone was to come give account.
That's not true, but we've been hearing rumors that that's a change that they're considering. So
at the moment, it's
I like that change.
Another one that it's a more than a rumor. Well, more than a rumor. It came from the Michigan Cannabis Group. Said that their contact is telling them, who is I think the director, that they're considering to dropping the requirement of having a medical license before you can get a rec license.
Okay.
A year early, which would be sometime later this year, early next year. So that might happen to where if people want to get into that rec market, they can get in without
straight away.
Yeah, without having to jump through the ridiculous hurdle of getting a medical license.
Is that only with the Class C's? Because isn't or in the provisioning centers and well, I guess everything except for the Class A's and the micros. I think Class A and micro, I don't think you have to have a medical prerequisite. I think you can. Well, I think you have to be a caregiver prerequisite for 2 years, but I don't think you have to have the medical MRTMA prerequisite.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with. I don't know if anybody's even gotten those licenses yet. I'm not even sure how they or if they're.
I think there's a couple Class A's out there. I don't know about the micros though.
I'd love to see a micro, man. I'd love to see how they do it, because those are the people I'm rooting for.
How many more have opted in? Like Norwell was talking, they're up for a vote this year. Maybe some more have been up for votes. I think there might have been last year's August. I think some township did some voting and didn't go through. But we're talking 97%. Some crazy, outrageous number of our townships are completely have ordinances against cannabis businesses. Period. So that means that we either have to change those ordinances through the township or you have to vote against it, like what Norwal's doing. So that's a huge portion of the state is just completely outzoned. And now, if you're talking about, now here's the other caveat with this whole one is, let's say you want a Class C or something and you have to have that medical prerequisite. Well, that's a completely different opt-in, opt-out scenario because that's MRTMA now. Now we're confused the shit out of everybody. Now we're back to the MRTMA, which is 2016 medical, where townships don't opt out; they have to opt in. My township, for example, they're opted out on medical, they're opted out on recreational, but they could at any time opt into that. Or I could go up to them and be like, "Hey, let's do a Class A medical MRTMA grow," and then they could potentially do that if they wanted to, which is in the works or in the cards. It's easier to kind of go towards the city and explain the medical benefits and to kind of do that sometimes than it is to immediately jump right into adult use. So I think that's kind of like my plan. Anyways, that's off topic, but I don't really know where I'm going with this, but I was kind of just getting at somebody else talk about it. I gotta like this.
Well, that's good news though. That's good news for you because now you don't have that requirement of having medical. You could go right to rec.
Right.
There we go. That's what we were talking
Which
about.
saves you some excessive fees.
Yeah.
It's still not cheap. Don't want to get any kind of fucking any kind of an idea out there like I'm saying rec is cheap. I'm just saying you don't have to do double basically. You don't have to get the medical and the rec. You only have to get the rec. So that's cutting it in half at least.
Shit, it could be cheaper if we're talking about passing microbials and stuff like that, you know?
Oh, for sure, for sure. You're gonna have higher limits there, so it's gonna be easier to pass those tests.
So I think like obviously overall and in the end you want to open up your products to the most amount of people, the most market that you can. So recreational, because it deals with both markets, recreational are allowed to sell medical and vice versa, you know. So
Well, that opens you up internationally. It opens it up nationally, whatever you want to say, because people can they can drive here, fly here, whatever, and come get red setter, hash or red setter flower.
Right.
Oh, that'd be so sweet.
With all they have to have is be 21 or older. I mean, that opens up your market like huge.
And that's where I think, for me personally, I would like the Class A. You know, I'm fitted out. I could do a micro business, right? I have, you know, I'm on commercial. I have a parking lot. You know, I could have a storefront, the whole nine. I could set it up. I could add on. I could set up a micro business very easily. I have extra acreage, so I'm great location. The thing is, our micro business rules are a little weird. You know, we can't have other people's products and things like that. You know, I love the fact that I can sell
Yeah,
all
hate
my
that.
own products. That's great. But Mid Canico, Michigan City is not very far from my spot in Irish Hills, right? Why wouldn't I want to sell some Mitten Canico and some more local products, you know? So it's some things really need to get worked out. So I think in the meantime, I would like to do like a Class A so that I could be on the shelves right next to like Mitten Canico at like my buddy's New Standard Provisioning Center, right? That would be an ideal startup scenario, and then see where the township might want to go, because New Standard's medical also, so they could be able to take my medical products, put them on the shelf, and maybe I'm limited on the customers that can go in there, but it's a way to get your foot in the door, right? It's maybe a way to at least get the township. We were talking about that earlier, to maybe play ball or whatever. So the medical is still an option. MRTMA is still an option, you know.
You know,
it's really caregiving on a large scale, Red, when you think about it.
To be honest,
it is, yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't know. I would have to just really, really have to look at it and plan it out and make sure you got all your, you know, everything's ready to go, and then you're double prepared. Because when I look at what kind of production I could do if I just filled up a caregiver card and what I would expect to get from that, and then compared me to what is the Class A, what's the plant count?
Are you talking medical or recreational?
Rec. I think rec's higher.
Rec is higher with like 100 and 200 plants. Is it two? Is it
200 plants?
It's 150. So wait, micro, shit, they're like ass backwards too. Micro's like 150.
I think micro is 150. I think I remember that.
Class A might be 100. I think Class A might only be 100 on the rec scale.
So that's the thing. That's the thing. It's kind of mind-boggling to me. Is like, man, between 72 and 100 plants,
there's such a small difference.
That difference, that difference in plants and what you would say you'd make on that is probably going to be eaten up by all the fucking bullshit regulation that you're going to have to like pay a lawyer to get the fucking through the application process without having to stress out about. And then fucking, you know, just paying all the bullshit fees and the bullshit stuff that happens with businesses start up, when you have to have like this inspector out and that inspector and then this fucking inspector. And, you know, you got to have this camera because of that camera, because of this camera and this stupid camera. And you got to have all this bullshit because it's this or that. And by the time it's all said and done and you're done with all these regulations and stuff, I think the difference between 72 and 100 is ridiculous. It should be like, that step should be way bigger. That step should be like 200 plants.
Yeah.
And without me having to say one word, I'm sure somebody asked the question, is the exact reason why I haven't pursued my township any further than 2016 when they told me no on the MMFLA. You know, that's the exact reason. Once I realized that they weren't going to play ball and it was going to be an uphill battle, and I already had to do a ton more spending just to get operational. It's like, I want to get operational, and I'm just going to be a caregiver because I'm allowed to be a caregiver, and I'm not going to mess with my my township's just going to have to deal with the fact that I can be a caregiver. And at that also, I started seeing that other townships had ordinances against caregivers, or not against, but limiting. For example, my hometown has limits on plant counts for caregivers. You know, it actually has caregiver ordinances that say you can only have 12 plants in residential, but you have to be in commercial to have any more, you know, do your 72. But they also allow 5 caregivers to a building. So I mean, they
Weird.
you know they juggle it. They help you out a little bit. They say, you know, you can have 5 caregivers in a spot and do suite 1 suite. So they allow you to do that, where otherwise it doesn't say whether or not you can do that to our state. So find a town that doesn't really have any caregiver ordinances, which is kind of what I did. And then other than, hey, do you guys want to do the MRTMA or MMFLA? Do you guys want either of these programs? No. Okay, well, I'm not going to discuss how to opt out of caregiver of the MMMA. So I just shut up, right? Because once I start bringing up that they can, that what my town has or what any other town can do to caregivers, I start educating them. I want them to be educated on some stuff. Some stuff I'm just gonna kind of play dumb about and not educate them that they can opt out on the caregiver thing. Not really opt out, but make it more difficult for us
Right.
to operate. You know, which is why I purchased in commercial. You know, and that's kind of the other thing is like purchasing. Right? We're talking about costs and everything and licensing. Well, if you're going to get licensed by the state for a cannabis business, you're probably, I don't know how much you're going to have to spend on a building or infrastructure and land. Let's call it a couple $100,000. You know, let's say you need to get a bank loan possibly for a couple $100,000. Your bank might not loan you a couple $100,000 to get property for a cannabis business. So that's a huge hurdle. You may actually have to purchase your property in cash and own that outright. So that's all stuff that, like, ducks in a row. You know what I mean? Own your property outright. You know,
we had a hard time finding a bank that would work with us just to pay the payroll. You know, we were getting paid in cash. We were getting paid in cash for a while. We were getting paid in cash. You know, how ridiculous is that? But yeah, we finally found a bank that would work with us. It's just stupid stuff.
So that's kind of all stuff that I made sure that, like, when I was putting my ducks in a row. So that was when we found the property. Is it affordable enough? Are we able to, like, we basically like refinance so that we were able to like purchase this property cash, you know, not literally cash, but it's cash payment property. It's ours. A bank doesn't own the property. It's my family's property now. So, you know, that means that we don't have to get permission to have a cannabis business in this property. So this is all just kind of like little small steps to get the ducks in a row. That way, with hopefully maybe federal wall drops, or maybe I can approach the township and I won't have to deal with some extra hurdles. You know what I mean? So there's small ducks in a row, but read the bills and figure it all out and ask a lot of questions. You know, that's the best thing you can do. But Spartan's right, man. Like the caregiver program right now, to be able to grow set for other people, you know, it's a godsend. And it's almost better than being able to grow 100 plants, and it is better than being able to grow 100 plants and pay tremendous fees. I mean, it's silly how little I actually spend on doctor appointments and all of that compared to like a couple of years worth of being able to grow plants for patients. I mean, it's not annual fees like it used to be. It's biannual, which is really nice. They do some required checkups, you know, annual checkups or things if you want to have good relationships with the doctors or the state, but otherwise, I mean,
yeah, and on the and you get that class A, and then you're fucking paying a license fee every freaking year. Not only the license fee, but at the local level too. I think that you have to pay that. I think it's another license, whatever they have at the local level. You got to re-up that every year too.
Or you have to have specialty insurance also. Like you have to have high risk insurance, so you're paying per plant also. Like, and that's something that's available pretty much to anybody. So the insurance company that I go through right now, they run with high risk, and they said anytime I'm ready to like transfer over, and you know I can claim my plants through them if I wanted to. Like that's once cool. I wanted to actually, you know, do the entire, because you can do a caregiver business to where you're claiming your income and everything, and you might be able to write off a couple of things like I don't know. I'm not a tax expert, so you'd have to talk to somebody else.
You can't write off anything.
From my understanding, from my understanding, you can write off a couple of your expenses that don't have to do with the plants themselves. You know what I
Like
mean?
depreciation.
There's some I can't even I don't even want to list
Got
a single
to. You're not
object.
an
You know what I
accountant.
mean? But
Right.
right. I don't want to give any advice on that topic. But from
Well,
my understanding, there's a couple of things on the caregiver level that you can deduct, but it's incredibly limited. It's
I'm
definitely not
fading.
lights. It's definitely not anything else like that. So.
Yeah, I'm fading really fast, so I'm gonna have to fucking jet on you guys. But
Yeah,
I do
we're at
want to
the end
say,
here.
I want to say one.
We hit the end of the show, anyways.
All right, sweet. I want to say one thing though about this whole last bit of our conversation. Don't think in chat that it sounds greedy what we were just talking about. Caregiver versus commercial and all that, because when it comes down to it, taking care of that many plants and being consistent and not running out and meeting your customers' needs, it's a fucking job, and you need to get paid for your time. And a lot of us,
Responsibility.
have a hard time charging really what it's worth. You know what I mean? I'm a big, same kind of person, but we are covered by the law. So, as a caregiver, but and you can gift all day long. So, which is another awesome thing. But so everybody, has got to make that decision. Is it worth it? Being my own boss and maybe making a little bit less money, or making maybe a little bit more money, but paying a lot more money back to the governments and having to be kind of a little bit hogtied. Or if you have other investors and stuff, then now you're really kind of handcuffed at what you can do without asking permission from a bunch of other people when you're the one running it. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that really made me just kind of, honestly, I just said, you can't beat them, join them. And that's why I just found somebody I could work with and learn from. That way, if I do ever decide, hey, I want to someday run my own grow, or maybe I just want to invest in a grow. When I retire, maybe I want to invest in a grow, but hey, I should work in one, work in the best one I can find. So I know what the fuck I'm looking at. You know what I mean? So I just really joined them so I could learn what I needed to see at that level, because it's like, sports going from high school to college. That's a huge, you could be your best star player on your high school team, but the talent level really gets narrowed down once you go to college. And then when college to pro, same thing. It's just this huge jump in skill. And it's the same thing when you in cannabis, man. When you go from growing your first plant to growing 4 of those plants to growing 8 of those plants to growing out of that space and going and getting a commercial job and growing fucking 150 per room, and you got 6 of those rooms going. You know what I mean? It's just a whole nother level, I think, and it's not something you just figure out on the fly. That's something you need to learn, and the best way to do it is just go work for somebody. I think that's just my strategy. I'm not saying that's how everybody's got to do it. I'm just saying that was my thinking, and that's what I did. But I gotta go, guys. Growers love and Spartan.
I think it's
Grown
great advice, man.
Instagram.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
No problem.
We are going to
Thank you,
wrap
Spartan.
it up right here. So, absolutely, Spartan, always awesome. He has a standing invitation to join us at any time. We're going to shoot over to Narwhal before we get out of here so he can do his shout outs.
It was great session with y'all. I think I've smoked too much so far. You can find me on Instagram at narwhalup82.
Oh yeah, Narwhal. Glad you smoked too much with us. It's been a pleasure smoking
It's
too
a great
much
place
with
to do it.
You fit right in, buddy.
Thank you for smoking too much with us. I guess that's my. Is it my turn? I'm up.
It is.
I'm Red Setter Farm, guys. You can find me on Instagram at Red Setter Farm. You can find me here on the late sesh at 11 p.m. on Monday nights. And Abolish Farm, I'm gonna shout you out, man. We're gonna bring back this Frugal Force at the end of the summer, so I'm gonna shout out Frugal Force. I feel like I'm always doing it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. I was told to shout them out, so I'm gonna shout out Frugal Force as long as I can until we come back. So come back at the end of the summer, which we still have a few weeks left. So
Baby, come back.
anyways, yeah, it's been a great session tonight. Thank you, Narwhal. Thank you, Spartan Grown, and don't forget Sunday nights, Michigan Bros Grow Show, 9 p.m.
That's
Cheers,
it.
everybody.
That's it. You can find Red at Red Setter Farm on Instagram. I'm Skilbo1 on Instagram, Skilbo17 on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Make sure you have notifications on so when I fuck up and start us early or we run late, you know. Until then, be safe, have fun, and see us Thursday morning at 6 a.m.
Stay medicated and hydrated.